Muy buenos días, good morning everyone, and welcome to the first event in the second day of COP28 here in Dubai. My name is Mariana Castaño Cano. I am the founder and CEO of 10 Billion Solutions, Climate and Sustainability Communications. Hello to everyone here in the room and hello to everyone watching us online. My pleasure today is to be your moderator for a very important event on integrating national goals into the local governance. How do we translate the nationally determined contributions, the commitments that the governments made under the Paris Agreement, into concrete action on the ground? Cities represent only 2% of the surface of the Earth, but as we know, cities will become the first line, the front line of climate action. They consume around 70% of the energy consumed in the world. Cities, urban population is now around 50% of the global population, and they will be, in just a few decades, they will become around 70%, if I'm not mistaken, around 2050. They will be 70% of the global population. So there will not be a solution to the climate crisis without the local communities and the local governments. And it is my pleasure today to introduce you to an excellent panel. We have a couple of other colleagues who could not be here because of issues with the transportation, but we have here a Víctor Viñuales. Víctor is the director of ECODES, the Foundation for the Ecology and Development in Spain. Víctor, buenos días.
Buenos días.
And
Good morning.
welcome. We also have today Wolfgang Teubner. Wolfgang is the regional director of ICLEI Europe. ICLEI is a very, very important constituency, a very important organization in the UNFCCC process. And without further delay, I would like to invite Victor and Wolfgang to introduce themselves and the organizations for those who are not familiar. Victor, tell us about you and about ECODES.
I am Víctor Viñuales, Director of the Ecology and Development Foundation, no? And first, total thanks to the Spanish Pavilion for the invitation, no? And total thanks for the public, for the good public for attending, no? Our foundation, in short, our main focus is climate change. Climate change. Our main action is to establish alliance with pioneers. This is a principal work. Establish alliance with pioneers, with climate pioneers, no? And for example, no? Community for Climate is a multilateral alliance with three main partners: public sector, as Spanish government, private sector, and NGOs, no? In addition, we work build alliance between Latin American and European pioneers. In our opinion, the war, this complicated war, need a better alliance with Europe and Latin America. And finally, our great challenge is make an economy in pace with nature and in pace with people.
The mic is good? Am I okay?
No, okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor, for that initial introduction. Before we continue, I would like to say good morning. Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Mauricio, bienvenido.
Muchas gracias.
And congratulations, you made it through the queues on time.
It's amazing. It's
You're a champion.
crazy. But I'm here.
We should
I'm sorry
give
about
medals.
the delay too.
No, it's fine. We are all, survivors of the logistic issues to get into the...
It is hard, but we will make it.
We'll make it. It's just for a couple of difficult days. The rest of the COP should go smoother. And now I would like to invite Wolfgang to introduce ICLEI. And Wolfgang, let us know a little bit about yourself and your work with ICLEI.
Yes, so we are, ICLEI is a global network of local governments, so we work with thousands of local governments around the globe on sustainable urban development, and so with 21 offices around the world, and we have been engaged in the implementation of the UNFCCC and also the Biodiversity Convention, as well as the United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda since the beginning, basically since the Rio conference in 1992. So, as I'm responsible, of course, for Europe, which is basically still reaching from the eastern borders of China to the Atlantic Ocean, and from the North Cape to the sea, and also the MENA region. So we are, of course, a lot engaged in EU-based initiatives, but we are supporting the EU Covenant of Mayors, the Global Covenant of Mayors, the EU mission on climate neutral and smart cities, the mission on adaptation. So we have a quite wide range of activities, both in Europe but also globally, in basically also managing the space, I would say, between United Nations agreements and the local government. So it's a truly multi-level governance exercise that we're undergoing, and so in that sense we're also, of course, present here to facilitate the input into the negotiations, and with our partners of the local government and municipal authorities constituency, and of course are also engaged in the local climate action summit.
And to translate the output also of the conference into action. Thank you, Wolfgang, for that. And Mauricio, let us know, you are the coordinator for biodiversity, climate, environment in the Santiago metropolitan region in Chile. So tell us a little bit more about your role in the region.
Well, I run this new department. Chile is really centralized governed, so we just elected our governors a year and a half ago. And we have like new capacities, and one of those is, of course, climate action. Santiago, it's the capital city of Chile and lives almost 9 million people. And we are upon a level of stress of climate change, especially drought and extreme heat. So we are trying to adapt to these consequences of climate change as fast as we can. We also work in mitigation, but the global northern emission is much more greater than what Chile can do. But we need to step up and get a faster adaptation to climate change, especially these two things in Santiago: droughts and extreme heat.
And it is super important to translate also in the local governance what is going on, and through assignment like yours, through, for example, new roles like the chief heat officer, for example,
yes.
Which is something very new.
Also, yes.
Unfortunately, chief drought officer, sometime it will be necessary to manage the lack of water in many places. So yeah, we are really happy to hear that the Santiago metropolitan region is aware and it's putting in place the governance.
We have in Chile a climate law. All the regions and local governments must do an action plan, which is good, but also we need to get into action. So we are really pushing hard for projects to solve the crisis of water and extreme heat as soon as we can.
Thank you for that, Mauricio. And now, after this round of presentation, I would like that we land into the topic of the talk today. So how do we connect the national objectives in the nationally determined contribution into real action? How do we have this transmission of commitments, but also a flow of finance? Because when I have these conversations with representatives from municipalities, from cities, from the civil society working at the local level, the first ask, a part, of course, of an enabling framework, policy network framework at the national level, like the law you just mentioned, is finance. So I would like that now we talked about the challenge, the key challenge that the municipalities and local governments have to face to implement local climate action, and maybe illustrate it with some good examples of solutions to bridge this financial gap. Wolfgang, from your perspective.
The financial gap. That's the biggest challenge. I would say that is currently left to us because I think I noted what the colleague from Santiago just said. It's we get a lot of support for developing strategies, and I mean this is going on for quite some time, and so a lot of cities are now, I would say, better prepared to take action in that they have adaptation plans in place, they have mitigation plans in place, some also have biodiversity strategies in place. But the problem is that of course this is not coming with a lot of financial support. And I think the issue is that the alignment of policies across the levels is not working as well as it could. And I think it starts off when we see, when the NDCs are prepared, local governments are not necessarily, sitting at the table and are contributing what both, I mean, their ambition, but also in principle their solutions, so that they're taken into account and then they're followed up by relevant, budgeting policies and support that they can give, and so that is a lag, and this is also why I think yesterday the CHAMP initiative was launched to basically improve exactly that process.
Could you explain a little bit for those
CHAMP,
who are...
yeah, it's the Coalition of Higher Ambition for Multi-Level Governance. So basically I think it's supported by already 60 countries, and of course, as it usually is, I mean, this is an initiative that is launched now at this COP. If it's getting support, I mean, we will have to follow up. We will have to make sure that this is then, as you say, translated into action. That means that we create new opportunities for, a dialogue, a real dialogue on policy development between local level and national level. Sometimes you have to also have involve sub-national levels that also play a relevant role in depending on the constitutional setting of the countries, to make sure that the necessary transfer of investment money is happening to the local government, that there is a strategic response. I mean, we ask cities to develop large-scale strategies, and this is not only one project, it often has a large scale of projects. And then, the implementation and the funding is project by project, which is a lot of work for everybody. So I think we need strategic support that is orienting the strategies, it's supporting the strategy that is in place, and then the city can decide, the priorities, which projects to implement first with the money that has been allocated to them. So I think it's a path that we have been starting, but it's of course, needs to be followed through. And I think part of the stock take that is now happening here will have to be, how multi-level governance is then ultimately also implemented, and how, the words are turned into action by national governments as well in that sense. So this is I think the key point from our point of view. And this is not only, I would say, it's about money for sure, but often it's also about regulatory frameworks, giving the cities the necessary authority to make these decisions and to adapt regulations that are often coming in the way when cities are trying to implement advanced measures both on mitigation and adaptation, which I think is the priorities of course are differing in different parts of the world. As the colleague said, in Chile the emissions are definitely lower than in the northern part of the world, but they're having most likely suffer more impacts than cities in Europe or the United States, even though I must say it's changing rapidly also for us. But we have to keep those two sides of the coin into balance.
To bring what you just said, Wolfgang, about the announcement that was made yesterday to the context of this conversation on how do we translate decisions at the top level into concrete action in the local level, we need to have a roadmap, to have to mark a compass towards some goals. And I am very happy to introduce my question to Victor, because Victor and Ecodes, they have designed this platform, Ambition COP, which is to help, it is meant to help in set the compass and keeping track of what was promised and then what is being delivered. So I would like to ask you, Victor, from your perspective, you're not representing local governments, but you work with local governments.
But
and
I worked 10 years, a lot of many years ago with local authorities.
So you know the difficulties, right? And I guess that apart from, of course, the policy and the finance, keeping track of everything that is, even we have just 2 days of COP and how many announcements. So we need to really keep track of what is being decided and what is truly implemented from now to COP29. From your perspective, Victor, what is the key issue here?
See, in my opinion, the financial national support is good, and is a good low national, is good for push the local action. But in my opinion, there are 7 key factors for the local climate action. No? First, climate action needs a common and shared dream. The local dream is more hopeful than the regional, national, or global dream, because it's my town, my city is better local dream. No? Second, we need a dream, but of course we also need an environment of stakeholders for design and implementing this dream. The main cement for this local alliance among this circle of pioneers is trust. And trust grows best in local space, because you know the other partner, no? You know my neighbor, no? For example, for instance, in our city, Zaragoza, similar to the other Spanish city and European cities, no? There are 200 city bars and restaurants for climate, another 100 companies from other sectors, more or less 40 NGOs, and more than 600 people. They are members of Community for Climate, the big alliance to build the implementation of the Paris Agreement in Spain. No? The local community is, in my opinion, a community of pioneers, because to achieve the climate neutral city by 2030. Third, we need to involve the general population, but general population is very difficult to involve, no? And maybe one way is concrete action in local space, maybe planting trees, maybe common energy initiative, car sharing, local, useful, easy initiative for people. Fourth, in the local space, if a company, a hospital, or a school coming to climate action, other similar actors could imitate them. Imitation effect. No? We need to promote a competence for the good. The social change is for imitation, in general, not for climate, for other topic, for the fashion, for the imitation, and we need to promote this imitation effect. In an hospital, we are neutral carbon. Okay, and you?
I want that badge too, a green badge.
5, in towns and cities, people have a sense of belonging. Their school, their neighbor, their church, their public space, no? The space of childhood. In my opinion, it's easier to build neighborhood dreams with a strong commitment of the neighbors. It's the belonging is a big question, no? It's a big topic, no? 6, the last 2 summers have been very hot all over Europe and Spain. For example, in the summer of 2022, it was 40 degrees Celsius in London. in London. So many cities are developing urgent adaptation plans. So our foundation, together with other actors, has launched an initiative to push for a great agreement with political parties, economic sector, and NGOs to promote urgent climate adaptation in Spain. Our experience with the current polarization in Spain, in Europe, in Latin American countries, in Argentina, in
Everywhere.
everyone, no? Our experience is easier to build climate action when we push for climate adaptation, because
There is little disagreement
see,
that we need to get ready
it's
for.
more easy the agreement, no?
Yeah.
And finally, 7, when we look at the global climate challenge, it is normal to feel hopeless. It's normal, because the climate change is great, is a big challenge, no? As it's normal, hopeless, no? But when we return to the local perspective, hope grows in our hearts. The climate action build, the local climate action builds hope, and hope is very essential for
Yeah.
the change.
Because the not in my courtyard principle works also for the yes in my courtyard when it is a positive outcome of a climate policy in this case. So definitely, I find that your 7 principles for impactful local climate action are really very, very, very good. And I think that they could be really interesting for other municipalities, maybe to adapt their framework of action, because we need to simplify. Very often, the problem of connecting dots, also in terms of governance, it's a lack of communication and a lack of understanding. In Europe, there is this new green taxonomy in this attempt of making sense of this mess, if I may, which is the new climate action regime. Mauricio, in the case of the metropolitan region of Santiago de Chile, what is the greatest challenge that you face to implement concrete impactful climate action, and what are the mechanisms that you are putting in place to solve this challenge?
As I said, this is a brand new department in a new institution in Santiago, and we are really putting the wallet where we put the mouth. What I say is we are putting money in climate action initiative. We can talk about climate action, but it's something different to do something about it. So we already have different funds for pocket forest. What is a pocket forest? It's a human forest made with Miyawaki technique, which is a really fast-growing forest, really dense, that decrease the temperature of the city and allows people to use that like a climate refuge. So we are lowering the temperature, we are protecting people, and we are capturing CO2. We are doing 34 of those in different local governments. Also, we are trying to solve this problem about water, about the increased use of water, and the decrease of offer of water that nature give to us, trying to promote different projects for efficiency in parks, in industries, and also in residents, in people. So we are buying different devices to have a better use of water, and also, of course, education. Because what is something strange? You have the water in your house and you don't feel that you are in a drought. So communicate that is kind of hard. And so we are pushing people to become influencers of water right now. So this is a brand new project. We will see the results soon. Hopefully next COP I can tell you about that. But we are really increasing the money in climate action, like 8 times than years before.
Fantastic. Influencers, pioneers, getting my green badge because I am a low carbon hospital, making it concrete, right?
Right.
Because the Paris Agreement it's hugely important, but it is also very vague. Because
It is.
it's a massive concept, a meta concept, very difficult to apprehend. And the climate crisis is so overwhelming that we risk of putting people because people feel maybe hopeless, and individuals don't have the finance, they don't have the capacity to govern any territory, so one can feel very,
Maria,
very hopeless about
if
that.
I might, just
Sure.
one thing. I think we are wrong about the message with climate. We are promoting anxiety
Yeah.
into people.
Anxiety, okay.
And we forgot about the
What drives people,
Darwin's principle, you know, life is adaptation. That is what it is. So I think we should change the message. We need to promote hope. Change is good, not to promote anxiety about awful world in the future. We need to do it,
Yeah.
but we can do it with hope or
Sure.
hopeless.
We
And-
need well-informed citizens. This is for sure very important. So I really like what you just said about the hope. Also, Victor, you spoke about dreaming. We need a common dream to align behind. Wolfgang, I would like to ask you, because the question that Carla prepared a question, and I normally change questions that events organizers prepare for me as a moderator, but in this case I found it brilliant. And the question is, if you were president for a day, if you were the president of the country for a day, what would you do to facilitate local climate action? Wolfgang.
Well, I mean, I think it's
You are
the
president.
easy part, and I think I'm following what I think Mauricio has just said. I mean, I think it's if you look at the principles that were just presented and what Mauricio has said, I mean, I think I would actually give more power to local governments in that sense, because I mean, I think we need a common playing field, and we need to make sure that, of course, certain laws and regulation are nationwide. There's no doubt about that. That's not what we want. But I think it's about people. It's about communication. It's about how you do it. And I mean, when you talk adaptation, I mean, you talk health. You talk basically giving people a better life, because I mean, if you don't have water, if it's too hot, it's impacting on your personal health. And of course, everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants to have a healthy and long life. So I mean, this is something positive, because I mean, you're addressing an issue that helps people to lead a better life. And the same is, in many other areas. I mean, it's improvements. If you improve your public transport, if you do this or that, I mean, it's leading to better opportunities, and I think that's what we can do on the local level. And I think that is to give them more power and to listen to do it more in a bottom-up way. Set the frameworks. I mean, Paris 1.5 degree, all definitely non-debatable, all good. But I think the solutions that are then ultimately put in place, and how they are communicated, and how do you motivate people, and not only the people. I mean, you were talking about stakeholders. I mean, a city is a system. A city is not an entity. City is hundreds of enterprises, service providers, people, institutions, and this is what you ultimately manage. You manage an ecosystem of actors that you have to basically motivate and to drive in one direction. And this is what's happening, and this needs I would honestly give more power and more responsibility and more trust, honestly, to the local level. It's also, I mean, we talked about trust, I think, in the first place. So entrust them. They will do the job. Give them set of goals and things, but how and they do it. Empower them. They will do the job for me. I mean, this is when you run a company. I mean, you have to rely on your employees, and you have to delegate power, because I mean, you cannot run a large company on your own. So and you put trust in these people, and that's what we have to do with local governments as well.
Yeah, exactly, because they are those who care most because it is their back courtyard and they don't have any other place to go but their city.
Yesterday in the this is the situation. I mean, if something goes wrong, I mean, they're not going to the president, they're not coming to me, they're coming to the local government people, and complain, and they have to solve it. So I need to put trust in those people that they manage it.
Absolutely. In my province, in the south of Spain, there is a mayor who's been mayor since the democracy was reinstalled in Spain, and this man is 98 years old. 98 years old, and I don't think there are examples like this. It's a small village. The governance is relatively easy, but this is a man of trust.
Exactly.
And it is a good example of how, people in the end, they don't care too much about colors, political colors, but they care about being serious, being accountable, and caring about the people you govern. Thank you very much. Wolfgang, you want
just a small comment. I've seen national election campaigns where chancellors were saying, you know me. Mm-hmm. as the argument to
my
be
slogan,
re-elected.
You already know me.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Victor, from your point of view, you are president.
I
declare you president of our independent republic of the Pavilion.
I am Spanish president, and I will push for the local climate action in three ways. First, I will invest in cultural change with a strong partnership with NGOs, media, creative industries, religions, and the education sector. More or less 5% of the transition budget. 5% of the transition budget. In Spain, the Next Generation Plan represents 140 billions. So this 5% it will be 7 billions. No está mal, ¿no? 7 billion. Okay. Second, invest in people's palace in each city. Library, civic center, sportive infrastructure, education, center of education, no? In addition, with two objectives, to transform them into climate shelters for vulnerable people, and in addition, to transform them into educational space for the green transition. This initiative will be an alliance with technology companies. Okay. And first, finally, coercion, law. If cities do not reduce their emission by 5% every year, my government, my Spanish government, my administration will reduce the budget to this city by 5% every year.
Oh, a reverse system.
It's a good initiative.
That's a very good.
So my government will promote conviction, investment, and penalize those who break the law.
Very good.
I will vote for you.
3 ways.
You will vote for him.
Vote for me? Vote for me?
Of course.
The 7 billion were very attractive. Mauricio, you were president.
Well, I don't think we'll be president, but I mean, we need to have an understanding of governance and institution. For me, it's national founding, regional planning, local initiative. So the solutions must be local, but the planning must be regional. More power to subnational institutions.
More power to subnational institutions, a cultural revolution.
Very important because, in my opinion, we need 3 transitions. Legal transition, okay, of course. Technology transition, of course. But we need
a cultural
transition. And this third transition is...
And doing it positive.
Doing it
with
positive.
Hope. With hope.
Absolutely.
With engaging with the solution, not with the problem.
Okay, I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree with you.
I can work with you and you'll go.
You'll be vice president.
You
then.
are minister. You are minister.
All right.
You are minister.
We will do that.
Wow, thank you very much, the three of you, Wolfgang, Victor, Mauricio, thank you very much for this lively and interesting conversation. The conversation continues today. We are only at the second day of this COP28. I wish you a lot of success. We already have a good start yesterday with the jump decision, and I'm sure there will be many more, but it is important to keep them accountable, Victor. So we count on you and that dashboard of climate commitments and then delivered action that you are promoting. And congratulations, because Mauricio, it's very good that the region of Santiago de Chile is being a first mover in the way you install local governance for climate action. And thank you, of course, to the Spain Pavilion for hosting this conversation today, and Carla Manulla for organizing the panel discussion. Thank you, and thank you everyone in the room.
Thanks.
Thank you.